Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go. Hi, everyone. Today is Monday, November the 24th. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. TrendSpider and Manther Q are having some sales, folks. Take advantage of that Black Friday stuff. Big deal, big deal. And of course, we know that Benzinga Pro is going to be having itself a Black Friday sale as well. All right, so let's get started. We're going to begin by taking a look at the E-mini S&P. This is a holiday shortened week. We are going to have some data, but what we are definitely going to have, my friends, is volatility. Institutional flow has likely done most of its business already for the end of the month and into December. And so what we have today will be retail traders pushing the market around. That's just going to be one of those things that we see. So let's have a look. We got one of these wonky mornings. Put support and the 0 DTE is above the call resistance walls. That's flow that's on the flip side, and only one of these traders can win in the current state. So it's going to shove markets around a little bit. What does that mean? The call sellers are going to want to see price underneath this area, and the put sellers are going to want to see prices above this area. So literally, only one of these groups is going to win. And that's going to shove these markets around a fair bit. So let's take a look at what happened Thursday. We had, what was it, Wednesday, we had NVIDIA, looked really great, opened up. Thursday, fell through the floorboard. We did have put butterflies on NVIDIA, and they looked pretty bad at the open of the day. By the end of the day, they were looking pretty solid. Now, sideways motion. Notice, as of right now, we are still within Thursday's trading day. So let me delete all of this. All the annotations are gone, only our technical indicators. And let's go to the 1 hour chart that we're staring down. It's going to give us a little bit of a flavor of the intraday motion. So we can see that where we are sitting is literally inside of the candlestick formation that began. Oh, for heaven's sakes, Anne-Marie. Yeah, that's all right. Let's get that 50% marker in here. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. So we are sitting in between Thursday's motion, and within that, we're sitting right at the 50% area. So there's this double whammy of congestion. My suspicion is that today could be very rangy, but the range might end up being wider than we expect. All right, we've got a dynamo cloud that is mildly negative. We've got momentum that is mildly positive, and we have negative drift that's flattened out from our volume by price and time momentum trader. I saw a very interesting piece of news. So the Dubai stock market didn't open for 3 hours. It opened like 3 hours late. Here was the note: minor routine connectivity issues. I'm going to call baloney on that one. Something's afoot. So they're back up. But my suspicion is that was very likely some sort of intrusion that got them offsides. So, we're seeing a lot of that these days, right? We had Cloudflare, we had Amazon, we had CrowdStrike early, we had an Azure one that was almost kept totally out of the news. Just things that make you go, Okay, so do we have upward drift? Yes, we do. We have two downward trending lines, upward drift, buyers are trying to hold the floor. As I mentioned, retail is going to be the one primarily pushing the market around, retail and smaller groups. Doesn't mean that the big groups aren't there, it's just they're not moving with any kind of major intent, I might say. All right, and so we have two boxes, one likely inside of the other, put wall 6,700, call wall 6,650. So these guys are going to jockey themselves around, but interestingly, the end of the month, and for both put and calls, are sitting at the same place that the 0 DTE is. That's very interesting to watch. Now, where are dips not buys anymore? Well, depends on what you want your risk to be, but I would suspect that if we lose the anchored VWAP from Friday, anywhere between 66.10 and 66.20, Houston, we have a problem, okay? So that's going to be the line in the sand. Dips are going to be buys. Spikes also likely to be sells. And that's what we're staring down, okay? Value area high, 67.27. Value area low, 65.55. I am not going to trade in these markets today unless something comes and slaps me in the face and says, please trade me. Okay, this is a very messy market. All right, let's move on to the NQs. Quick snapshot look at the 4-hour. We can see the same sort of pattern inside of Thursday's motion and two fairly messy pockets of inventory. All right, so first things first, let's not do that. Let's draw the Fibonacci. High to low. Now let's collapse into the 1-hour formation. We can see that we are just underneath that rotation event, and the data look pretty similar to me. But they are creeping up into this box just a bit. We have that double box per se right here. And if I clone this, yeah, they look to be about the same size. These call walls and put walls are in good shape. If we stare down the NQ trend, we have negative trend. We have the steep negative line from Thursday, but we also see buyers underneath. And that's going to be a big deal. My suspicion is that all of this liquidity we're going to be able to see what's going to happen based on what's going on with Bitcoin, which we will look at next. Okay, so what do we have? The midline for them to break through is, for the traders to break through, somewhere around 24,600. Also happens to be where the VWAP is sitting, right? Point of control, VWAP, all of that sitting right around the same spot. And so that will be the likely area of congestion. Look at these overlapping boxes. This makes it very difficult to find the edges to trade. Not an ideal environment at all. The edges are very murky in terms of where the moves are. So another reason that you trade it light and tight or not at all, as Crudelli likes to say. So value area high, 25,285. Value area low, 24,475. That happens to collide with the call resistance wall for the end of the month. And we are fighting that right now. The 0 DTE call wall is 24,390, chopping right around in this zone. Dips or buys. Big spikes, you got to cover because you're sitting inside of this box. Now, you could chase it out, but it'd be a risky bet if you chased it out 24,775 to 24,850. All right? That's what we're staring down. Put support and the 0 DTE put wall all sit at 24,000 at this juncture. Notice there's about 100-point range underneath there from that low, so just be careful. I say take the day off, watch it, use your practice accounts. You know, we go where the getting's good, and it is not good in the indices here. Okay, it simply is not. All right, let's go to Bitcoin. So, here's the storyboard. My suspicion is that Bitcoin continues to the south. Why? I don't think we're done selling here. I really don't. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not going to bounce and you're not going to get yourself some pretty nice trades. All right? But the line in the sand that the sellers are going to get freaked out about is this 89,000. If they breach 89,000, we're going to see some stops get run from the sellers. VWAP all the way up at 91,500. The call wall, again, these guys are topsy-turvy. The put support well above 100,000, at 100,000. The call resistance is at 92,000. So these guys still underwater. 0 DTE, however, is all the way down here at 75,000. So I expect some sort of capitulation that comes down into this zone and a big reflexive move to the upside. Whether that fails or not, I do not have any insight there. But what we do know is this chart has got a lot of negative pressure. It is moving into higher lows. So we can't just simply go, hey, I'm going to short this baby. No, we can't do that. So we want to look for a failed retest of 85,500 or a failed retest of 89,000. Now, could you say to yourself, hey, I'm buying the dip? Listen, if it comes in, if it fails 85,500 and comes into 84,000, where the anchored VWAP is, good on you. You've got a good shot at upside pressure from there into the box. Other than that, stay away. We're still sitting in the box that I drew from Thursday. Sorry. Let's take a look at oil. Oil should be in a what's going on with this one? Futures. All right, here we go. So here is the oil contract. Let's do this. Let's remove all the properties. So we got this We got this fake peace deal going on, and it's roiling, all the energy markets, all the military / defense markets are getting a little sell-off from this. Why do I think it's fake? Because I don't believe anything that I'm hearing out of anyone's mouths right here. I feel like all the parties have proved themselves out to be extremely untrustworthy. But that's just me. Of course, I would have to give you some sort of color, right? But here we are. Here's our oil, and we are in a sideways patch. That sideways patch could be, wow, also very sticky. I like the buy zone here if we break higher and then pull back. We have to make a higher low with this recent test. If we fail this edge, we are very likely to break the put support, which is $57.50 for the 0 DTE. The call wall is $58.75 for the 0 DTE. Call resistance still up at 65. Listen, these traders know what's going on. This call wall would come way down if everybody was thinking, oh, we got no problems across the pond. Now, they're also positioned pretty conservatively with the put support down here at 55, but we have several gamma walls. And remember, a gamma wall is just another collection of options that are sitting in that spot that are telling us fades could potentially occur. How do we like to figure out where that is? Well, we just build ourselves another box to the downside. Looks like it measures where the gamma flow is for level 8, and that gives us somewhere around 56.75. All right, our dips buy zones, potentially if we stay in the box, but if we fail this, it's very likely to flush on us because people have been buying the dip, buying the dip, buying the dip. When that goes away, they're going to have their stops run. First bounce back up. If it doesn't quickly recover, it's not a good space. So my suspicion is still it's going to bounce in between these two guys, right? These are where everybody's going to make all of their money from their options sold. And so the likelihood that it goes up into that 58.72, I think is pretty strong. And that's a great sell zone in my mind. All right, let's take a look at gold. I don't know if we've rolled yet. I imagine we haven't. So as I mentioned, gold is caught in a wide swath, and it's going to be caught in a wide swath for a while. Take a look what's happening on the daily. See this price compression? Price compression occurs with gold after it's made pretty dramatic moves. All right, and so here, back in April, it made a really dramatic move and then sat around. Well, really, look at that. It sat around for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, friends. Yes, 5 months. Now, obviously, we have more volatility in here, but I'm going to take a gander that this is what we're sitting in here. So, if you're saying that, don't look for any 100-point moves in gold. Think about things strategically and realize that dips are going to be buys and spikes are going to be sells, right? So where is the dip buying? 4,025. 4,037 is where the latest dip is. And take a look at what's going on with this trend line. It's opening up a little bit more. So maybe 4,089, right? Retail has joined the gold party a little bit late. And so they're going to try and shove it up, buy it, move to the north. 4,100 is value area high. 4,025 a value area low. The 0 DTE call walls and 0 DTE put walls are the same as the big monthly walls. The call wall is 4,120 now, and the put wall is 4,030. So that's what we're staring down. Momentum pretty sideways, a little bit of negative drift here, but this is a very interesting indicator. It needs a level of precision that to describe that we just don't have time to go into on an ordinary day. Volume's very light. Volume's been extremely light in the pre-market action here, so that's exactly what I would suspect. Okay, finally, here we go with SPY. Same sort of thing. Here we have, another potential flag pattern. Where could we go? Well, we have this big wick. So let's say that that's the wick. 670 to 680. 0 DTE call wall, 667. 0 DTE put wall, 650. The big put wall is down at 640, and the big call wall is still up at 700. So dips or buys. Look for the anchored VWAP from Friday at 658 to see if it holds. Makes for a great buy. Again, folks, man, I'm breaking out the knitting needles today. All right, I am going to be trading from the perspective of let's see how interesting our strategies can get on a practice account. Or, I normally do those sorts of things on my combine also. All right, that's it. Take care, everyone. I'll see you on the streams.